When Lexus entered into the compact luxury sports sedan class back in 2001, it set out to compete in one of the hottest classes for luxury automakers. Going against heavy hitters such as the BMW 3 Series and Mercedes-Benz C-Class, the IS didn't have the solid reputation of its European peers during the time. Fast forward nearly 20 years, and the IS is now a very well-known vehicle in the compact sports sedan class, and is a pretty compelling choice among this segment. So let's go ahead and check out and take a comprehensive look at this 2018 Lexus IS300. While styling of the Lexus model lineup has been controversial in recent years, mainly due to the spindle grille, our IS F Sport makes it very apparent that this is a signature design cue for Lexus, as it somewhat looks even sinister in a way, being very aggressive in styling. Our IS300 F Sport model further enhances details with unique wheels and interior styling treatments, and also comes equipped with a 3.5-liter V6. For 2018, you won't find any major changes, however, you will find slightly increased power for the 300 and 350 models, and a backup camera is now standard equipment. This exterior color of the IS is known as the Nebula Gray Pearl, and it's one of the most popular colors for this vehicle. We do have smart key access on the driver's door as well as the front passenger door. And here's the key fob design for the IS. It's your typical Lexus smart key here. We do have your lock, unlock to release your trunk, as well as your panic alarm. And with the F Sports package, we do get unique seats here, and we do have a full-on black leather interior with perforated leather seats and white contrast stitching on the side bolsters. And with the F Sports seats, they're also more aggressively side bolstered than the standard seats on the IS. You have your power adjustable driver's seat with power recline, as well as power lumbar as well. Alright, stepping on inside of the IS here, you're treated to a very contemporary and a pretty modern design. And it's fairly well laid out with the controls here. You do have push button ignition, just put your foot on the brake and hit the button to start. And what you're hearing there is a 3.5-liter V6. We do have a full leather wrap steering wheel with a 3-spoke design. And coming to your transmission, you do have a 6-speed automatic transmission, and 8-speed is also available if you go for the different engine choice. And you do have manual shiftability from the shift gate here, or you could do it via the paddle shifters. When you put the vehicle into reverse, this will tilt down the mirrors and also display your rear view monitor with guidance signs and trajectory. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on the headlights and the hazards. Let's go and check out the rest of the vehicle. Heated exterior side mirrors with LED side turn signal indicators, and you also have blind spot detection as well as puddle lights. And you have your 18-inch aluminum alloy wheels, which look fantastic on the F Sports model here. Coming up front, you'll find LED headlights for the low and the high beams, as well as LED daytime running lights and front parking sensors. Powering the IS here is a 3.5-liter V6 that produces 260 horsepower at 6,400 RPM and 236 pound-feet of torque at 2,000 RPM, with EPA estimates being 19 in the city and 26 on the highway. Those looking for more power can also opt for a stronger variant of the 3.5-liter V6, and you can also go for the standard 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. When driving the IS, the first thing you'll notice is that this vehicle is pretty darn good, if not better than many of its competitors, especially in terms of its handling characteristics with our F Sports trim, which uses a distinct suspension setup versus other trims and is nimble and being quick on its feet. Acceleration from the 3.5-liter V6 is enough to get things going, but nothing spectacular. But those looking for a thrill-seeking drive will want to opt for a stronger variant of the 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6, which provides the vehicle with plenty of power. The ride is firm but is livable for daily commutes, and ultimately those looking for an agile and fun sports sedan, the IS is a top pick. Total vehicle price for our particular IS, you're looking at $47,810. From the government 5-star safety ratings, the overall vehicle score is a 5 out of 5, and EPA fuel economy estimates 19 in the city and 26 on the highway. And the final assembly point for the vehicle is also in Japan. Coming to the rear of the IS, you'll find LED taillights, as well as these little shark fins on the taillights as well, which are supposed to be for aerodynamics. And then you also have rear parking sensors as well as rear reflectors and dual exhaust tips. For the parts content information, the final assembly point is in Japan, and the country of origin for the engine parts as well as the transmission parts are also from Japan. And all of your basic power necessities, including your power windows, door locks, power mirrors, and memory seat settings for 2 people. You'll find that the interior of the IS is certainly impeccably built, with superb materials throughout the entire vehicle and plenty of soft touch points that do abound inside of the cabin in all of the necessary places, such as on the armrest, mid-door panel, and upper door panel, as well as on top of the dashboard. And you'll also find stitching right here and right here where you might hit your knees, and then also on the armrest too. But overall, it's a really nice place to be, fairly opulent, and what you would expect out of Lexus quality. And the steering wheel design, pretty good looking steering wheel. Since we do have the F Sports trim, it is also a thicker steering wheel rim. And you'll also find your steering wheel mounted audio controls and your Bluetooth phone controls, as well as your voice recognition. And on the right side, you have your D-pad controller for the driver information center. And then you also do have a reconfigurable digital display right here that's inspired by the Lexus LFA, which I'll get to in just a minute. And then you also do have your buttons for your forward collision alert, as well as your lane departure alert, all that good stuff. And then the steering wheel also does power tilt and telescope with a pretty good range of adjustment here. Visibility out of the IS is also excellent. Lots of glass area on the front windows. A-pillars are also fairly narrow. And seeing out of the rear is okay, not as good as the front windows, but it's decent. At least the window rear base isn't too high. And you'll also find an automatic dimming rearview mirror with garage home link, as well as SOS Safety Connect and your map lights, as well as your sunroof with your sunroof controls. And we also do have dual zone automatic climate control. And you have touch capacitive buttons for the temperatures here, which are actually calibrated fairly well. And you also find your buttons for your front window defroster, rear window defroster. And then down here, 3-stage heated seats and ventilated front seats, as well as your heated steering wheel. And then you have your main controls for the Lexus Inform system, which I'll get to in just a minute. And then we have your driver selectable modes. We have 3 of them with your Eco, with that being the most fuel efficient setting, of course, and then normal, as well as the sports mode, which tightens up the steering and it changes the throttle response. And then you also do have dual cup holders and a pretty good amount of center console storage with dual USB charging ports and auxiliary input. And this analog clock certainly gives it a much more upscale feel inside of here, for sure. On the side panel here, you also find your blind spot detection button, your parking sensors, and then your automatic high beams, which is all part of the Lexus safety system. And let's get to the gauge cluster here. Like I said, this digital gauge cluster is inspired by the LFA, the Lexus LFA. And it's a pretty good looking gauge cluster here. Of course, it does show all of your basic vehicle information, such as your fuel economy, your eco indicator, as well as your GPS coordinates, and then also your tire pressure monitoring, your gear position, and your sway warning. And that also shows you turn-by-turn directions for your navigation system and your compass. And then we also do have your audio source, which you can change the audio source from here if you would like. Review what radio station is playing, review what song is playing. And then it also shows you what safety technologies are activated or not. And then any warning messages for the vehicle. And then settings that you could change, such as vehicle settings. You can view the schedule maintenance, oil maintenance, and then your meter settings, which you could change the units. And then you could turn your eco indicator on or off, as well as the language too. And then it'll also show you your fuel gauge on the right side, as well as your coolant temperature, and in the center, your tachometer with your digital speedometer. And it also shows you what driver selectable mode you are in. But overall, pretty good looking gauge cluster. Let's get to the main infotainment system and head unit. This is the Lexus Inform system. We've seen this many times here before. And it's controlled by the mouse-like controller, and then the buttons above it, as well as the enter button on the side right here. And you have your different audio sources, of course, which do include AM as well as FM and XM satellite radio, and your USB port with iPod integration, your CD player with optical disc drive, and your iHeartRadio, Pandora, Slacker, all of the internet radios. And then your external media devices, which do include your Bluetooth streaming audio, your USB port with iPod integration as well. And then your destination. And your navigation system, you can enter in your destination from the address, of course, points of interest, web search, and you have your destination assist, which you can actually call a live person, and they'll give you directions. And then you can also view your previous destinations as well. And then you have your address book, and then your intersection and freeway, and then you can also do it by coordinates. And coming to phone, of course, you can hook up your Bluetooth phone, have multiple Bluetooth devices onto the system, and then you can also view your recent calls, and then you have an integrated dial pad. And this back button is very convenient when you're also switching in between the different menus here. Then we have your Lexus app suite, just for your Pandora, Facebook Places, Yelp, OpenTable, iHeartRadio, MovieTickets.com. And then your sports docs fuel guide, as well as your Slacker. And then other information such as your fuel consumption data, which will give you a bar graph, show you your fuel range, average speed, and your elapsed time. And then traffic incidents, which will give you a traffic event list. And then we have your weather, which will give you a current forecast. And then you can also change the location if you would like. You can view your weather map, and then you have your vehicle alert history. Unfortunately, on this system, you still won't find Apple CarPlay and Android Auto like how you'll find in many other vehicles. And then setup over here, which you could change many different settings from the voice, Bluetooth, audio, traffic, general. And then we also do have your Lexus app suite, data services, phone, vehicle, and your navigation. And then your climate settings, which you can adjust the temperatures, fan speed levels, as well as the different zones, and you can activate dual or not from here. And then your display, which you can adjust the contrast as well as the brightness, and you can turn the screen off. But overall, really do love the Lexus Inform system here. And here goes the map, which will also show you your live traffic, and you can also change the views too. Overall, I love the Lexus Inform system. It does take a little bit of time to get used to, and occasionally can be distracting when you're driving on the road, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. Interior quality does follow through in the rear back here. And sitting back here, you'll find a decent amount of legroom and headroom too. And you also find dual map pockets as well as your rear air vents. However, it's definitely not the roomiest in the class back here. And you have your rear center armrest with dual cup holders. Seats themselves are pretty plush. Trunk space in the IS is decent. You also find your cargo mat. And the rear seats do fold down 60-40 split. And you have your Lexus first aid kit, as well as your emergency trunk release. So with its fun and thrill-seeking nature, its distinct styling and many standard features, the 2018 Lexus IS is a top choice in the compact luxury sports sedan class. So remember that this is Cameron Birch from Cameron's Car Reviews.